The Bermuda Triangle, December 5, 1945. 5 military aircraft take off from Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station for what should be a routine training mission. 2 hours later, their frantic radio calls echo through the control tower. We cannot be sure of any direction, everything is wrong. Strange, the ocean doesn't look as it should. Within minutes, all communication goes dead. The planes, along with their 14 crew members, vanish without a trace. A rescue aircraft is immediately dispatched to find them. It too disappears, taking 13 more lives with it. No wreckage is ever found, no bodies are recovered, no explanation is given. This incident would become the foundation of one of the most enduring mysteries in modern history, a legend that has terrified travelers and fascinated conspiracy theorists for nearly 80 years. Before we uncover the truth behind the Bermuda Triangle, here's a quick request. If this story interests you, please hit that like button and subscribe. Seriously, it takes just 1 second, but it helps us tremendously. Did you subscribe? Great. Now let's dive into the world of maritime mysteries. Chapter 1. The birth of a legend. Contrary to popular belief, the term Bermuda Triangle didn't exist in 1945 when Flight 19 disappeared. In fact, this infamous name wasn't coined until 1964, when writer Vincent Gaddis published an article titled The Deadly Bermuda Triangle in Argosy magazine. But the stories of strange disappearances in this region began much earlier. Christopher Columbus himself wrote about bizarre compass readings and strange lights in the sky while sailing through these waters in 1492. By the mid-1800s, reports of ships found completely abandoned, Cyprus with no crew, no signs of struggle, and no explanation began to surface. The area that would become known as the Bermuda Triangle roughly forms a triangle bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, covering approximately 500,000 square miles of ocean. It's one of the most heavily traveled shipping lanes in the world, with thousands of vessels and aircraft passing through safely every single day. So why did this particular patch of ocean capture the world's imagination? The answer lies in a series of high-profile disappearances that seem to defy logical explanation. Chapter 2. Flight 19. The mystery that started it all. Let's return to that fateful day in December 1945. Flight 19 consisted of 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers led by Lieutenant Charles Taylor, an experienced pilot with over 2,500 flight hours. Their mission was navigation problem number 1, a routine training exercise that hundreds of pilots had completed before. The flight plan was simple: fly east for 141 miles, then north for 73 miles, then return to base Manitou. A triangular route that should have taken about 2 hours. Weather conditions were reported as favorable, but something went terribly wrong. At 3:45 p.m., Lieutenant Taylor radioed the control tower saying his compasses weren't working and he couldn't determine his position. Over the next 2 hours, increasingly desperate radio transmissions revealed a crew completely lost and disoriented. "We seem to be off course," Taylor reported. "We cannot see land, everything is wrong, strange, we can't make out anything. We think we may be about 225 miles northeast of base." The last transmission came at 6:04 p.m. "All planes close up tight, we'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." Then silence. Chapter 3. The USS Cyclops. A wartime mystery. 3 years before Flight 19, another disappearance had puzzled naval investigators. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops, one of the largest ships in the U.S. Navy batches, vanished somewhere between Barbados and Baltimore. The Cyclops was no ordinary vessel. At 542 feet long, with a crew of 306, it was carrying 11,000 tons of manganese ore crucial for steel production during World War I. The ship had made an unscheduled stop in Barbados on March 3rd, citing engine problems and an overloaded condition. After leaving Barbados on March 4th, the Cyclops was never seen again. No distress signal was sent. No wreckage was found. Despite extensive searches covering hundreds of thousands of square miles, it was as if the massive ship had simply vanished into thin air. The disappearance was initially blamed on German U-boats, but post-war investigations revealed no enemy submarines were operating in the area at the time. Over 100 years later, the fate of the Cyclops and its 306 souls remains unknown. Chapter 4. The Media Phenomenon. By the 1960s, these mysterious disappearances had caught the attention of writers and journalists looking for sensational stories. Vincent Gaddis's 1964 article was just the beginning. In 1974, Charles Berlitz published The Bermuda Triangle, a best-selling book that brought the legend to mainstream audiences worldwide. Berlitz's book was filled with dramatic accounts of vanishing ships and planes, stories of compasses spinning wildly, and tales of electronic equipment mysteriously malfunctioning. He claimed that over 100 ships and planes had disappeared in the Triangle, often under perfect weather conditions. The book spawned a cottage industry of triangle literature, documentaries, and theories. Writers proposed everything from alien abductions and underwater UFO bases, to time warps and portals to other dimensions. The lost city of Atlantis was blamed, as were magnetic anomalies, methane gas eruptions, and even giant sea monsters. The Bermuda Triangle had evolved from a geographic area into a cultural phenomenon. Chapter 5. The Scientific Response. As the Triangle's reputation grew, scientists and researchers began to take a closer look at the claims. What they found was troubling, not because of supernatural forces, but because of sloppy research and sensationalized reporting. In 1975, librarian and researcher Larry Cushy published The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved, a methodical investigation that examined each reported disappearance in detail. Cushy's findings were damning. Many of the mysterious disappearances had occurred during severe storms, which writers had failed to mention. Others had happened hundreds of miles outside the Triangle's boundaries. Some vessels reported as vanished without a trace had actually been found, but their discovery wasn't reported by Triangle enthusiasts. For example, one ship that Berlitz claimed disappeared 3 days out of an Atlantic port had actually been lost 3 days out of a port with the same name in the Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles away from the Bermuda Triangle. Chapter 6. Flight 19. Revisited. Even Flight 19, the most famous Triangle disappearance, becomes less mysterious when examined closely. Naval investigators concluded that Lieutenant Taylor had become disoriented and mistakenly believed he was flying over the Florida Keys when he was actually over the Bahamas. Taylor's compass wasn't malfunctioning. As an experienced pilot, he trusted his instincts over his instruments, a decision that proved fatal. Flying in the wrong direction, the squadron ran out of fuel over the open Atlantic. The rescue plane that disappeared, a PBM Mariner, was known to be prone to fuel vapor explosions. A merchant ship reported seeing a burst of flame and an oil slick in the area where the Mariner disappeared, consistent with an explosion, not a supernatural event. Weather records show that conditions deteriorated throughout the day, with strong winds and rough seas by evening, hardly the perfect conditions described in Triangle literature. Chapter 7. Natural explanations. The Bermuda Triangle region does have some unique characteristics, but they're geological and meteorological, not supernatural. The area sits atop one of the deepest underwater trenches in the world, the Puerto Rico Trench, which reaches depths of over 27,000 feet. Wreckage sinking to these depths would be virtually impossible to recover. The Triangle is also located in a region where multiple weather systems converge. Sudden, violent storms are common, especially during hurricane season. The Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current, can quickly disperse debris and make search efforts nearly impossible. The area experiences unique magnetic variations where magnetic north and true north align, something that could confuse inexperienced navigators. This phenomenon, called the agonic line, moves over time and passed through the Triangle during the early 20th century. Chapter 8. Statistical reality. Perhaps most importantly, statistical analysis reveals that the Bermuda Triangle is not statistically more dangerous than any other heavily traveled area of ocean. The U.S. Coast Guard states, in a review of many aircraft and vessel losses in the area over the years, there has been nothing discovered that would indicate that casualties were the result of anything other than physical causes. Lloyd's of London, the world's leading maritime insurance market, doesn't charge higher premiums for ships traveling through the Triangle. The U.S. Board on Geographic Names doesn't officially recognize the Bermuda Triangle as a geographic location. Even the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) states, there is no evidence that mysterious disappearances occur with any greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other large, well-traveled area of the ocean. Chapter 9. The Power of Myth. So why does the Bermuda Triangle legend persist despite overwhelming evidence against it? Psychologists point to several factors that make conspiracy theories and supernatural explanations appealing. First, humans have a natural tendency to find patterns and assign meaning to random events. The idea that disappearances in the Triangle are connected is more psychologically satisfying than accepting that they're isolated incidents with mundane explanations. Second, supernatural explanations for tragedy provide a sense that there's something larger and more mysterious at work in the universe. It's more comforting to believe that Flight 19 was taken by aliens than to accept that 27 young men died because of human error and bad weather. Finally, the Triangle myth persists because it's profitable. Books, documentaries, and tourist attractions continue to capitalize on the mystery, keeping the legend alive despite scientific debunking. Chapter 10. Modern developments. Today, modern navigation technology has made the kind of disappearances that fueled Triangle legends virtually impossible. GPS satellites, radar systems, emergency beacons, and constant satellite monitoring ensure that aircraft and ships can be tracked in real time. The few disappearances that do occur in the region are quickly explained by investigators. Mechanical failure, human error, severe weather, or criminal activity account for virtually all missing vessels and aircraft. Ironically, the triangle's reputation may actually make it safer than other areas. Ships and planes traveling through the region are often more cautious, better prepared, and more closely monitored than those in less notorious waters. The truth revealed: the real story of the Bermuda Triangle isn't about supernatural forces or alien abductions, it's about the power of storytelling and the human need for mystery in an increasingly explained world. The disappearances that created the legend were real tragedies involving real people who deserves better than having their deaths sensationalized for profit. Flight 19's crew members weren't taken by aliens. They were young men who died serving their country. The USS Cyclops didn't sail into another dimension, it was likely a victim of overloading and structural failure during wartime. By examining these incidents with scientific rigor rather than supernatural speculation, we honor the memory of those lost while learning valuable lessons about aviation safety, maritime engineering, and the importance of critical thinking. The Bermuda Triangle teaches us that the most dangerous mysteries aren't the ones hiding in the ocean depths, they're the ones we create in our own minds when we choose sensational fiction over factual reality. The ocean is mysterious enough without adding supernatural elements. Every time a ship sets sail or a plane takes flight, it's a testament to human courage and ingenuity. That's far more impressive than any conspiracy theory could ever be.